Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's weekend offering. This is our broiler chicken show. Having a little fun here this morning, listening to some Sir Slab before our offering got going in earnest. See, we have a bit of a light participation in the hangout today, but we got the YouTube page up and running. Let's see, where are you? There you are over there. I'm going in earnest. See, we have there's a couple people over there hanging out. So hope you guys enjoy the show. I'll keep the chat box open. So if you do have questions, feel free to ask. I also watch over there too. I'll even type, hi, YouTubers. At least you feel like you're part of the gang. Now I'm drunk. Oh, geez. Well, I haven't sworn yet. Hey, and it looks like we have a lady in the room here, so I got to watch my P's and Q's. It's funny, actually. Please understand, guys, I try to have a lot of fun with this. I know a lot of you, this is, serious, this is money, this is, this is my future, this is my kids' education, this is my retirement, blah, blah, blah. Totally appreciate that. So please, don't feel as though I'm just poo-pooing this. But at the same time, I've been doing this game for 30 years. And the only way that you can survive at this game over the long haul is you've got to take this lighthearted. Build plans so that you don't have to wake up in the morning and, oh my God, is my future ruined because I took this one wrong trade? Just don't do it. Don't put yourself into that position. And then you can come and have fun and joke about how many times Brian will say China in one sentence in one day, and how the altcoins are doing and all that. Have at least a sense of a bit of levity to this. No doubt about it. I was looking across the board. Before we get into it, we need to understand that venture capital-wise, this is absolutely the worst time of year. And while it may be painful to go through, and I'm watching the silly altcoin accounts, we topped out at about 25, 26 Bitcoin worth of altcoins there recently, and I see that we're down to, I think, about 22 or so in equivalent terms. So I can see the pullback in altcoin land, 21 and a third right now. So I can see the pullback in altcoin land happening as we speak. And please understand that I approach this window, even though I am long a lot of Bitcoin and am long a lot of crypto, I actually approach this time of year as a buying window. Like, this is when assets are weak. This is when they are on their knees. And I've actually been slowly going in there and buying positions over the past few days. I'm not buying the up sexy names, right? All of the buys that you see going through on my tape are, especially in altcoin land, are like right off the low ends of the ranges. And I'm not looking to take profits tomorrow. If anything, it's just business as usual. If you've got your day job, right, you can build your trading plan, you can build your portfolio out, you can slowly start allocating your money. In essence, this is a buyer's window over the next couple months here in altcoin land. And I would just, just take your time and just slowly, pick and choose. The great part about it, guys, is you have the money. These guys want your money, but you dictate the terms of when to spend your money. Ideally, we want to see things like W's on price charts. Is that so much to ask for? Right? And then, once you see W's, do I have things like internal indicators that are saying, hey, this thing's pointing up, it's not pointing down? Are these W's coming in half decent trade locations, i.e. bottoms of ranges and stuff like that? And just go about this very slowly. There's no hurry to go and shoot all your, shoot your wad all in one go. You really need to understand that in this game. Slow and steady wins the race. And The great part about for you guys is we're not actually talking in like trader language, right? Trader language would be like, okay, appropriate risk management for a low risk seasonal approach would be to allocate a 0.5% to 1% per trade, building up your positions to a maximum of 5% risk exposure, right? Blah, blah, blah. Fine print, right? And at the very bottom, if it's on the bulletin board, and I suppose in crypto too, directors are not legally responsible to tell you the truth, right? Which, you know, we got to understand this is capitalism, guys. I mean, it is the wild west up there in crypto. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that I try to make it a little easier for you guys with using crazy little terms like little old ladies and nanny nibbles. In a weird sort of way, maybe dumbing those strategies down and calling them the cute names that we do, maybe that actually isn't doing you a disservice. If you would prefer to approach this from a very strict, very upright, you know, banker perspective, then use all that language that I talked about before. But I try to make this lighthearted and as easy to sort of digest as possible. Think Nanny Nibbles is we're just simply going in and buying it against the low end of ranges and taking very, very small little nibbles. It's just really that simple. And what we do have to understand, of course, is in a weird sort of way, if you play the venture capital market, you're really playing a seasonality game. And a lot of it has to do with taxes. Venture capital is heavily tax incentivized, both on the buy side and the sell side. And psychologically, we humans seem to go through this funny transition period, transitioning out of sort of warm weather, nice, you know, environment, back to school, back to work in earnest. The sun goes away, you know, for us here in the northern hemisphere, and you know, the weather turns, and we have to sort of change psychologically our thinking. They often say they don't call it the fall for nothing, which has me very worried about the broader stock market because it's still in face rip up mode, which scares the hell out of me here. So, you know, put it all together, especially, you know, in, you know, those that are interested in crypto, we really have to understand that, you know, the next couple months, don't expect a heck of a lot. And in a weird sort of way, we have sort of a double-edged sword here in crypto if you're interested in the altcoins and the silly pumps, in that a lot of them derive their base value off of what their relationship is to Bitcoin. And just like the broader market, I actually think to a certain degree, Bitcoin is actually leading the market here. And I find it fascinating that I've been studying these, you know, 35-year generational cycles now in earnest for a solid 20 years, guys. I mean, this is a long time. And I find it fascinating that this son of a bitch is fucking just basically face ripping, excuse my French, but face ripping right into what I have been looking for as the cycle pivot this Q3 2017. And what was really weird in the dot-com boom is that the cycle was supposed to peak in March of 2000, and that is exactly where it pivoted. So here we are, we're heading in full steam, heading into the equinox. It's supposed to be, I think, on the 22nd. I posted it in the lounge earlier this morning. And, you know, God damn it, I wouldn't be surprised if we have some sort of horrendous blow off top here through this event. And, you know, coupled with the seasonal pressures in altcoins anyway, if you are, you know, valuing your net worth on what you're seeing on your altcoin portfolio, it's going to be a bit of a tough slog here, guys, no doubt about it. I guess the question really is you have to ask yourself, why and how did you buy these things to begin with, right? And that all comes down to our trading plan. I'm a super, super big fan of buy when it snows, sell when it goes. You probably heard me say that a few times over the years. So, and this is the weird business, of course, with Bitcoin looking the way it is, rah, rah, rah. But, we can go coin by coin by coin. It's interesting, in our team meeting here, we talked a little bit about names like this OMG and how it seems to be working its way down. And this is a case where if this thing does get back down into the reload zones, we want to buy the shit out of it. So we kind of want to actually see more downside pressure. And we've built a shopping list of names that we'd like to own. And we're just waiting patiently for them to work their way back down into buying zones. And clearly when we look at a chart like this, and we had our little team meeting, and Payman sort of gave us an update on what, and if anything, this is a really, really good analogy where the fundamentals, we knew what was coming, right? We spent lots of time, I remember back in the end of August, talking about the airdrop coming and where was the top and this thing going to come in, blah, 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 blah. So there's your fundamental backdrop, but classic technical analysis, the real trade to get short was probably hunting short setups following this moving average breakdown, or basically this little empire up here. And as I'd said, this is an example of a name that we actually want to see the seasonal weakness. We want to see some blood in the streets, and we are going to be buyers if and when this thing can get its butt back down here. And actually, if we look at this in Bitcoin terms, it looks even worse. In US dollar terms, it actually looks relatively stable. But if you're going to go value your sort of net worth based on what does my coin look like relative to Bitcoin, can you see that this thing's basically in collapse mode right now relative to Bitcoin? There's our bear cross. What do we say if we ever see the market smiling at us? Anybody ever heard that? Oh well, he's got to learn. He's got to learn the hard way, eh, Kevin? So again, if we can get our butt down into here, bottoms of ranges, reload zones, blah 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 blah, Brian's going to be in on the buy side. You'll probably hear, Brian's working his bids at 78.6s. So please understand that's the sort of backdrop. When I woke up this morning and I looked at the altcoin account, I was like, oh boy. And you can see there's blood in the streets today, no doubt about it. Maybe that's one reason why the hangout's a little bit thin here today. That could definitely be possible. I'm not discounting that for one bit. I would say, though, that, the interesting thing is, we've talked about this before. Capitalism is really a talk about the lava lamp. I don't know whether you guys have I think I have it somewhere around here. Really great way to think about capitalism. This was actually put together by one of our students, one of the very first school terms that we did, Tim, aka Gravity. And it basically, I think, demonstrates what happens in the capitalist process. And you could argue that this is the function of basically transferring wealth from the impatient to the patient. Here are all the impatient people, and all the patient people are over here, and the capital slowly flows back and forth, back and forth. It's just the way the capitalist process works. So with that said, right, I think and this is the number one reason why we diversify, is that, interestingly enough, even on these crappy down days, look who's perking up here, good old Clammy. Try and figure that one out. Why the fuck is Clammy going up? But somebody's obviously interested in this. One coin that's just driven me crazy is this Trust coin. There's obviously something going on here. So, don't totally take disheart in the fact that we have a pretty nasty day. There are some bright spots, but on balance, make no mistake about it, we don't have to go very far on the list to get into the shit. It's a pretty ugly market out there right now, no doubt about it. Is Brian panicking and selling? No. What is Brian doing? Well, ironically enough, if you actually go to the crypto portfolio, I'm actually starting to buy some stuff. It's been a while since I bought stuff, but I actually am starting to buy some stuff. Do not make me seasick. You don't like the GIF, eh? So we should put that on for change. We'll put the little lava lamp on there. So please understand that through the crap, you're probably going to see Brian slowly accumulating positions here. And if anything, you know, have you guys ever heard me? Who can I finish this expression? This is the only business in the world, right? Trading or whatever you want to call it. Because really, I mean, it's the whole damn market, right? But it's the only business in the world when stuff goes on sale. Who can finish that sentence? When stuff goes on sale and no one wants to buy. And I don't know why it is. You guys notice that? I mean, like the silly Paris Hilton nonsense, right? The silly price of that asset was being bid up. She comes out and all her minions come in and buy the top of the market. It just doesn't make any sense at all. It's weird when it comes to shopping, and it what does Wayne say here? Price expensive. This is great. Price bottoms. This is crap. Yeah, it's an odd, but the bottom line here, guys, is of course you're here to make money from trading, right? Rob, you're such a troublemaker. So one reason to pop into the lounge during these hangouts is you get to see the funny jokes that these guys post. I'm not even gonna say that joke, Rob. Such a troublemaker. But the bottom line here is that this is the time of year when stuff goes on sale and nobody wants to buy. And for the next couple of years, that's not. Whoops. Hopefully that wasn't a Freudian slip. Next couple months, right? You're gonna hear Brian slowly nibbling on this, nibbling on this, nibbling on this. I still got the about 6 Bitcoins worth of nibbles to do, so I still got lots of ammunition. And I'm just going to be in there just doing my little nibbles. And you can see they're not huge amounts of money, 0.17, 0.11, 0.18, right? Not even 1% nibbles, but I am in there buying. So with that said, some of the ideas that I've been sort of kicking around recently, and this one is driven me nuts because it is like the total classic example of the sort of FOMO pump and dump kind of coins. I mean, look at this. It's just ridiculous. And so, I mean, you just look at this chart and you should be able to go, well, I can understand why Brian's stepping in and buying against the bottom end of the range. You can see momentum is just, there's just nothing to get excited about here internally. Total nibble. But at the same time, I'm very interested in just simply going in and buying in against bottom ends of ranges. You can see this key tail right here. Looks like they're probably going to be wanting to eat that. There's a little bit of a gap right there. So, you know, playing around in this area for the next while, totally understandable. And the interesting thing is, right, at like 150, this is kind of like Michael's idea. I mean, this is 650 sats wherever the hell the bottom comes in. Maybe the bottom comes in all the way here. Great, 627 sats. Didn't really move a hell of a lot. Can you guys see that all I need is a 38.2 to get myself a free trade here? And I don't know how long this is going to take to happen. It might take 6 months, but I'm more than happy to have my money working away down in here. And what will probably happen is as we start Wing out and as the internals start turning back up, I might just go and add to the trade. So good example of a nibble against the bottom end of the range that I did. I don't even know. I think I bought into this little ZEN. I have no idea what this thing's doing here. Probably, yeah, same thing. So everybody hopefully can see there's a W that was put in. There was a stab against the low end of the range, and good old Brian's going in there. I've done a couple buys here. I think I'll probably cool my jets. Now my average is somewhere right in this area here. Just kick back, let my money work for me. All I need to see is a move up into this area sometime in the spring to get myself a nice double there. not a bad idea if we see any sort of like lower time frames. The traders in the community can start seriously hunting for bottoms here. Don't see anything off of the hourly chart. Looks like they tried to put in a divergence here. These insane tails, this to me totally looks like rage quit. Just dump it, hit the bid, just liquidate this thing, get it the fuck out of here, that kind of talk. So, you know, if you want to go and do some nibbling against the bottom end of ranges, it's another coin to consider in here. And hopefully you guys can just see my logic. I don't chase. Not going to be buying up top. I'll buy breakouts. That's fine. Usually what I like to do is add to the trade at the shark level here in the reload zone. If I can get it below value, that's basically the logic there. And I think I bought one other thing. What else did I buy? It probably looks like a piece of crap today too. ENRG. ENRG, this one's insane. We actually got off. Geez, I think the actual numbers, let's see how, I mean, it's just ridiculous how many trades we got off on this thing. Oops. Let's see if I can spell. RG, there it is. So we originally bought this position when it was, should be gonna load for us. There we are. So we bought it originally at 46 sats, which is like nothing. We bought the original position way down here, and we were just banging out doubles the whole way up. The last sell order we got off was at 18,000. So that's actually right there. I got a sell order off. What a lucky son of a bitch. And so with this thing just collapsing right back down against here, I said, what the hell, I'll go and buy some more. So does it make sense? I mean, this is kind of like, if anything, this should be like our TRI's Jeremy Can coin, right? We're actually, and a damn good testament why you better have your open orders working. We were actually able to get some off here. And so all I've done is just gone back and bought back some of the coins sold up top. Does that make sense? Pretty logical, pretty simple, straightforward. I hope so. Again, same sort of thing. Momentum-wise, nothing to write home about here. Still looks really sloppy. Nice to see the bulls. Obviously, somebody really likes this thing. And is it realistic for me to try and sneak out a double on this thing? So just even our trading range here, if you buy here at 2,200, can you see 44, 4,500? All that is just a revisit of this wick sometime down the road. And all the level tours, of course, just did this module. What do we have sitting up there that at some point down the road will need to be filled in? I don't know whether you can see that or not, but there's a big juicy gap right there. So is it realistic for me to just put some of my money to work and see if I can get a nice fill up here and get a free position? I think so. And this one pisses me off when it has these massive face rib moves. It always seems to look back at me and go, ha, sucker. So I wanted to get this thing back in so the next time it does one of these nutso bull runs here, I'm reloaded. Okay, so that's sort of what I've been doing, and hopefully you guys can see the logic behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. With regard to Bitcoin, I think on balance, we've been sort of bantering these levels about in the lounge. I was just having some fun today looking at cycles, and I noticed that she seems to move in like these 2-week sort of windows. So we actually just entered in what I would consider a consolidation phase, where we had a rally. In fact, actually, I would argue there was a consolidation there to there was a cycle. Then we moved from here. We were stuck in this cycle for a week or two. And also, too, what I thought was really interesting was if we measure the entire duration of the previous correction, sort of consolidation, if you will, and then we also measure how long it took to go from the ultimate top to the ultimate bottom. And then we projected those same levels. So this is sort of the consolidation zone, the blue or teal one. And then from high to low in this case, what would that look like through this cycle? And I noticed that we're basically coming up to the ends of these consolidation windows. So get ready, guys. It looks to me like we're finally transitioning out of this ranging environment. What does this look like? I got a funny feeling. We've got two AB equals CDs going. We've got this funny one that we've seen. And actually, we had a really good example of this in the gold market that I was talking to you guys about for a while there, a month or two ago. Where is it? One of these charts. Gold. There it is. So we had this funny formation. You guys remember this in the daily briefs? I was talking about this. Where you get, it's like you get an initial push in one direction. Then you get this sort of upward consolidation that creates one of these sort of tilted rectangles. And then you get sort of like, all right, we're done with this. So now we're going to repeat the first part of this. Do you see how that works? Thomas, I was posting this in the lounge last night for you. I remember, I don't know whether that's my my bear Thomas or a different one. I don't know. Anybody see my screen? I've seen this repeatedly over the years. I don't know what to call it. I've seen this probably at least 100 times in my career, at least, where you get this big move, then this funny little rectangle on its side, and then a resolution equal distance to the initial move. So when I looked at Bitcoin, what a shock. I saw the same thing developing here, where we had this straight line move, boom, up to here. Then we have this sort of rectangle. It's sort of a sideways rectangle. It's kind of sloppy, but hopefully you can use your imagination. And then it looks to me like we're going to have to replicate this move off of here up here. I've seen this just happen so many times. And also, too, if we sort of think about AB equals CDs, we had this big push, then the pullback. So by definition, we should see an expression of this move after whatever the pivot low is that's established. In day, we had one site member who was very, very jazzed on the bull side off of this fractal bottom, and hats off to him. I hope he had defined his entry and what he was going to risk to. And by that definition, it should define what, at the bare minimum, what he should be thinking about for profit objectives. And I don't see any reason why we can't continue to look for this AB equals CD move. It looks completely logical to me. And you can see what that does is it actually takes us right up against these candle wick highs. And I think ultimately, you guys have heard me say, you know, we're climbing the wall of worry. That's a great expression for this. As we're sort of going up here, all you hear from clowns like me is, oh, get ready, oh, this thing gets up, oh, be careful, right? And the market just keeps grinding its way up, right? And, you know, as we clear through resistance points, if once we break this high here on this bar, what do I often suggest you guys should do? 2 words. Both words start with L. Nobody? Anybody? Hey, very good, AJ. Look left. So we're breaking out here, and you got to look left, and you go, oh boy, the next high is way up there. And sure enough, the market churns its way up, and can you see how it ran up, hit that high right here, and then had to back off. So at this point, we break this high. What do we want to do? Look left. Where's our next stop? And that's up here. And gee whiz, that lines up perfectly with that AB equals CD. Can you see that? So I don't think anybody should be shocked that the market has been pointing into these levels. As well, too, you actually have to think about these levels as liquidity pools. You know, there's lots of people, hey, Brian says M's are bearish, so I'm going to short here. Well, no, here, sorry, right there. And where do the noobs usually place their stops? Well, Brian says M's are bearish, so where am I going to place my stop? Most new people to trading will place it right above here, just right up there. And this is why we call it the noob stop, because in essence, you know, especially for crypto and unregulated and all that kind of craziness, this represents a pool of open orders that are just sitting there. And of course, if they're short, that means they are open orders to buy. So that means that if I bought here and I can push the market up into here, then I can, my buy orders down here that are pushing the price up, I can place sell orders for those positions right into here. And if I can trip up this high, then that will trigger all those sell stop orders. Does that make sense? Right? And actually, these would be buy stop orders because they're short. So they're going to buy on a stop. Mr. Trader Dude, who's been pushing the market up here, buying, 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 he's going to have all his orders to sell sitting right there. And as this level gets tripped up, all those buy on stop orders are going to fill his sell orders. Does that make sense? It is an extremely important concept. Christine, I don't think I've ever seen you before. Christine, who the hell are you? Does what I'm saying make sense to you? Putting you on the spot. And she goes, well, my name's Christine, but I'm not actually a lady. No? Hey, Mr. Habsburg. Where's Mr. Habsburg? Where's his smiling face? There he is. Hey, buddy. Nice to see you. How you feeling these days? Been in the YouTube hangout. Oh, you guys are hanging out over there. Hey, there's Ian. Oh, yeah, Ian. All right, so we didn't get anything out of Christine there. Christine's like, don't put me on the spot. How about P? Who the hell's P? Hey, P, you got to take a pee? Does what I just say there, does that make sense about liquidity pools? I mean, this is super, super important information, guys. I sure hope I'm getting through to somebody here. Anyway, so given what I see here, and that's excellent. Oh, you just scored major points. Way to go. One of my favorite stock market cartoons was this fat cat. I still can't find it. I got it around somewhere. So, yeah, and you'd think that this silly internet thing, right? You got a silly cartoon from like 20 years ago. You should be able to find. No, I'm not going to say that. No more of that talk. Oh, boy. I actually got into trouble, man. We had some people that actually asked for refunds after that. Oh, well, what can you do? So, yeah, my favorite stock market cartoon, fat cat sitting on the big chair, and he's got a couple dancing girls on his legs. They're drinking champagne, just having a great old time, and the caption down below is, and then we went after the stops. It was very typical trading behavior. And also, too, what we have to understand with Bitcoin is, oh, boy, this thing is so subject to manipulation. Right? I mean, it's the number one reason why the powers that be right here said, no, I don't think so. All right, so short term, what am I kind of thinking here at the moment? Obviously up. It was really cool. I drew this trend line off of these old peaks, boobity boo. And I noticed that that trend line actually has been respected very well here over the past month or two. Notice that trend line, boobity boop, right? Look how the market respected that through here. Obviously, that line's pretty important. and here, right? And so my hunch is that this actually is going to represent resistance, and that's going to be a big battle level. And what a coincidence, right? Gee whiz. That's right up against that liquidity pool. It's right at that EB equals CD target, and it's right at my funny little tweezer formation target. I think the battle royale is right up in here. And that also makes sense too. If we think about institutional fingerprints, somebody came along here and stopped Bitcoin bull, right? Somebody did. It certainly wasn't all the Twitter people. They were all buying through here. So somebody said, all right, enough is enough. You want Bitcoins? We'll give you all the damn Bitcoins you want. My hunch is that these guys, notice the lows here, they're going to line up nicely where we are. We're now into what I call the institutional fingerprint, where basically the mark where whoever put a top into this, they're going to defend their trade. And gee whiz, of course, all that action is right up in that area as well. So I think, your war, your battle is about to, if the bulls are really the bulls, we're coming into the actual area where the fight is actually got to take place. It was interesting in the lounge, somebody this morning said, well, Brian, are you going to just short this 78.6? I know you love 78.6s. And I just simply said, you know what? If I was going to short this, I think I would prefer to just let this top out a bit. Just give me some anecdotal evidence that she's done. And I just don't see that just yet. In fact, one gentleman that we've been working with diligently, he's in the level 2 program. Really nice to see his progress. He's coming along really, really well. He's just got to keep at it. We built this very simple trading system for him that we were going to follow the 1 hour moving average bias to basically frame our expectations. We had a really interesting bull cross through this area. Really nothing set up through that. We had an interesting 10-minute battle through this pivot, and it was really educational to see how they turned the market through that. Nice little stop wash on the long and short side. We talked about that, I guess, latter part of last week. The moving averages crossed over bearish, and we actually had a really nice short setup that developed through here. And then on Friday, the moving averages crossed back bullish, so the question was, okay, now we got to start hunting long setups. And through this, hopefully everybody can see, with the bias established, we're now going to hunt long setups. What's the setups going to look like? In this particular case, I don't think he was necessarily trading the bot, but the bot is an absolutely perfect trend continuation strategy. And so can you see how, in essence, the market rallied from this low up to this high and literally just went into a channel here? Can you see the channel? I mean, this is such good information, guys. It's just solid. So if we replicate that range and then just simply A, B, C, D, what's a typical market movement going to look like, right? This is so normal. It's it's borderline cliche. In fact, Rob just did this in his harmonics module in the level 3 program. So now he should understand why the market harmonically wanted to get up into here. We take the potential harmonic setup, and the bot sort of is a bastardization of that, in that it's going to look to try and trade this harmonic pattern. And in essence, all the bot does is it just breaks this CD leg into quarters, where you're just going to simply risk that box. And you're going to look as potential reward for that box. What do you think? Not a bad little setup, eh? So for our little day trader, I think the setup coming out of this was the bot. Somebody also asked me this morning, well, if you see bullish indications from your indicators, if you see bullish structure developing ahead of the bot entry level, is it okay to take that trade? And that's what I like to call front running the bot. It's a little dangerous sometimes. You know, obviously it's going to speak to your acumen as a trader yourself. But if you did draw all the levels and then you saw this little tight little double bottom within a double bottom come in, as you can see a little arrow, I don't have a problem if you wanted to front run this, if your anticipation was that you were going to trade the bot levels and you were going to respect the lows, blah, 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 blah. And you saw, you know, you've got now this hard candle low, this low, this low, this low, this low, this low, and this low to defend your trade. I don't really have a problem if you want to try and front run it, but please understand, that's actually speaking more to your acumen and maturity as a trader yourself. You have to get to learn and get to know this trade setup. The bot is nothing more than just a level generator. That's it. It's a trade location tool that just sets up a really respectable risk-reward matrix. I still think, you know, through this, and we had one student back in the, what the hell are you posting there in the lounge? Now, how do we get some of those chicks in this hangout? But I get dangerous. I don't know. What is it? Benjamin's posting pornography in the members' lounge. That's caught my attention there. No, bimbo gays. Yeah, what's this? You'll know soon if you were wrong. Yeah, okay, so back to the story. Sorry, didn't mean to get off topic there. There's just shiny object, shiny object. Don't do that to a guy. All right. So the bottom line here is, can you see how the market itself set the trade up? Can you see the W here? I sure hope so. And this is why I love the bot so much, is because quite often the market itself is validating this as a level. So again, I'm not going to tell the market what to do. The market's going to speak to me. And I think the market had a nice big pop, and it said, I need to go sideways for a bit. We know that off of our higher time frame basis, we should be thinking long. And in essence, this trade set up very politely here. And what I found fascinating this morning, this was incredible. It happens so often, guys, it's incredible. As we're coming into the bot target levels, what do you think the general tone is of the investing public as we're heading up here? Buy, moon, right? Lambos, right? The irony of it all is, you guys need to learn this, is that the pros are actually taking profits, and they're going to use that overt inertia, that euphoria of the kids in the Twitter and the Facebook pages and stuff, Moon Talk. The pros are using that euphoria to get their fills. And I even remember in the lounge when I saw this happen, I said, it wouldn't surprise me one bit if there's even more of a blow off top here, but you got to understand, we as traders, we used to use this expression. This is when the pikers are coming in. What the hell is a piker? I don't know, but that used to be the expression. This is the pikers, or in essence, the public, the chumps, the people that lose money from trading. Does that make sense, guys? Does it make sense what happened here? This shouldn't surprise any of us one bit. And this is why I respect these bot levels so much. Because in essence, as we're coming into this level, your natural knee-jerk human reaction is, oh my God, I'm going to get rich. But ironically, the bot actually gives you your fills, you're ringing the register as those thoughts are going through your head. In a weird sort of way, it saves your ass a lot of the times in trading. So, as I said, it was quite amusing. I was like, okay, well, the comment in the lounge I just simply said was, this trade is now done. Our job as professionals now is just to let the market settle down and consolidate and tell us where it wants to go next. Can you guys see that as long as the 1 hour trend stays positive, I could technically go and hunt another long setup here. Does anybody see the potential for another bot to form here? Excuse me. Has to correct at least 33%? Check. But no more than 66%? Check. All right, so we can say the bot's alive. Whoops. If I can move these things around. So we're going to draw off of one low. We are going to change our bot levels. And there we go. So we have one low to work with. Certainly not enough for us to justify taking a trade just yet. Just like in here, what I really want to see is some back and forth. Can you see how structurally this set up this range here? So in essence, what I want to see is we got one low. What I would like to see is this thing, and it's probably going to go like this, right? What I want to see is a nice solid consolidation. And as I had said off of our little arrow, if you're lucky, sometimes the market will actually give you a nice little entry below the actual bot entry level. You get a nice push, then you can just follow all the bot levels, tickety-boo, and just business as usual. All right, what do you think, guys? Does that sort of help you understand what I'm thinking here in the short term on Bitcoin? And you guys probably even heard it a few times recently. I have said repeatedly, I have no fucking clue what's going to happen here. None of us do. All you can do is just build your setups and trade your setups. That's all you can do as a trader. That's what you got to do. Ideally, of course, your setups, you'll want to make sure that they're at least, good. I would say absolute minimum like 60% of the time. I think we can shoot, 2/3, 66%. And if you're right, you get paid relative to if you were wrong. It's just, this is a trader's life. And then rinse and repeat. If this thing comes up here and then craps out, right, then that I could very easily see both scenarios here. You notice I have these big hearts on the screen. And actually, this is another awesome piece of learning information if you've never seen this before. This is actually what we call triple distribution. This is, what do you, if we were going to talk volume profile, is this an example of a full profile or is this an example of an empty profile? Be pretty obvious. It's empty. There's some pretty big holes in the profile here. This thing could use some backfilling. And if we draw things like fibs off of the highs back down to the structural bottom, do you see? And this is really cool because check this out. We see that 38.2 right now is going to be a revisit of this POC. And in essence, that will just fill in this part of the profile. If this part of the PROC, the profile, you can see, can everybody see this is value high here? 7 to 8K bust, reload, 1 to 2K, jam. Okay. And rinse and repeat. So we can see that if we do top out here and fail, gee whiz, and actually you can see I already have the levels already on here. What a shock. Can everybody see the first stop target is basically just going to be a test of value high. Does that make sense? I hope so. And we did our whole bot thesis. If we do have to come down to 38.2, then that will wipe out this short-term continuation thesis. If, of course, 38.2 doesn't do its job, can everybody see? And, we talk about look left. Do you see how vulnerable price could be here? If we fail here, does it make sense? We could just go vroom, right down into these areas. Gee whiz, there's 38.2. Then if we fail in these areas, then vroom. Do you see how these are basically open air pockets? And here is all the previous key highs and key lows. And gee whiz, there's our reload zone. There's another big muak. Oscar, if you're watching this, hope you're doing okay, buddy. I haven't talked to you in a while. And of course, here is really, one could argue, the POC of this entire range. So can you see how both scenarios here could play out? I don't know what's going to happen. As it stands right now, the bias is still up, and that hasn't changed. If we just keep face ripping higher, then maybe I just don't have a trade set up. That's just the way it goes. But if I get some nice structure that develops through here, then I might have another trade set up shortly. What do you think, guys? Is that information that you can use? Well, and that's also important too, Nils, is did you say that divergence is confirmed? It's really dangerous, especially off the higher time frames, to actually assume that this divergence is going to confirm. That's dangerous, because this thing might, and I've seen it happen lots of times, it might just turn and just explode higher for a whole new leg higher. No divergence. So the point here is, yes, and I think excellent job, Nils. He sees that we actually have potential double Ds here, don't we? You know, Brian, he loves his double Ds. And as Nils pointed out, really stupid, right? There's something wrong here. You like that one, eh, Bugger? I like to just have funny little jokes and sayings and stuff. So I apologize. I do see we have a lady in the room here. I hope that wasn't offensive to you. Interesting. Wayne makes a reference here that, and this is sometimes a trap. Nils, you should remember this, right? Sometimes, and this is why it's super important, we never ever just take a trade off of Willie being stupid. Because sometimes oscillators, if we get into a strongly trending market, will embed themselves. So I totally respect Nils. You're looking at momentum, price momentum in particular, and you're saying, gee whiz, there's a lot of writing on the walls. Yeah, we're in danger. Last thing in the world you want to be telling anybody is, hey, yeah, go buy some Bitcoins. Nice, easy, no-brainer investment. Right? If anything, we're going to take the long trade because we're traders trading off this 10-minute chart. And I sure hope everybody appreciates this, right? If we're going to take this trade setup and we see any signs of failure through here, we are so gone, right? Does that make sense, Nils? Does it make sense? If this setup comes in here, but this thing rolls over, we got to get the hell out of there, walk away. This is a 10-minute day trader's life, right? This is not little old lady investing, apples and oranges. The point with regard to the higher time frames is, you know, we certainly, well, damn chart come. We certainly cannot, for a moment, go into the public and say, oh yeah, this is a nice, easy, no-brainer investment. You're going to get your head handed to you here. And if anything, remember we've been talking about this for quite a while. What is Bitcoin's market state right now anyway? Right? If we're talking little old ladies, we're talking about investing, Bitcoin, and it's been this way for quite a while now, right? And I seem to remember last week having this conversation with you guys. We're still very much just sitting in a trading range. We're trending higher off the lower time frames, heading up to test the top end of the trading range. Well, I don't know, Rob, because this was this low here. Is that more than 66%? And do we have 3 lows to work with here yet? I don't know. I think if anything, this is just trend continuation. I can understand that like people off the daily charts are got one low, two lows. We had this fractal pivot here, and they're sort of shooting for this off the daily charts. I think that's sort of our expectation of this up here, right? I could potentially see that off the daily charts. And I think also too that speaks to this chart. We haven't looked at this in a bit. So we had our bullish moving average turn here. Remember, guys? Do you remember last week we talked about this bullish turn and how there needed to be a check of the trend line after the turn, after the cross? It almost always happens. If you haven't seen that before, write it down, journal it, right? All that kind of crap. So we got the check. It's really interesting how we're holding this arc, eh? Absolutely fascinating. Remember, we were right down in here. We were just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And look how it's just holding this arc like a son of a gun. So it looks to me like we're still on path here. I don't see anything stopping us. What did I want to say? There was something I wanted to say off of this. I can't remember what it was. Oh well. In one ear, out the other. So I think on balance, we're heading up to test these highs. I don't see anything wrong with that thesis. I'd be really curious to see how we do through this October 20th, and that's now right here, right? Oh, isn't that interesting? I'd be fascinated to see if this thing actually pivots on October 22nd right here. Oh, man. Because that, in essence, is the equinox event right there. So that's actually where we're supposed to be thinking for a top. Anyway, only time will tell. Fascinating world we live in. All right, guys, what do you think? Was that of any help at all to you today? I sure hope you enjoyed that. Kind of went off on a tangent there a couple times. Okay, it's now 12:30, so we've been blabbing away for about an hour or so here. I think we can, what happened to the new lines would be displayed. Well, what's all this? Hi, Brian. So for the direct message, I have several questions. Yeah, okay, well, maybe I'll answer that later. And Ian. Ian's just it's beautiful to watch him in action. If you can understand Ian's logic, great, go for it. But it's beautiful to watch Ian in action. I'm so proud of him. Man, what a great job he's done. Fantastic job, Ian. We're all going to be working for Ian pretty soon anyway, so. Okay. Oh, look at that. This is a great testament. Remember we talked about site user, and we can actually use this as sentiment reading. Notice how we've dipped down here on the site below 100. You can tell the public is losing interest. I mean, the sad part about it, of course, is Julian's like, hey, this is our business, man. Don't talk like that. This should be all going straight up. But I would actually argue this is an excellent sentiment indicator right here to tell us about the health of crypto. As soon as this thing starts bottoming and actually starts trending higher and spiking out, then we'll know next season is underway. And I'm still waiting for the bottom on this. This would be fascinating to watch this number. And I actually wouldn't mind Sjord maybe building in a way where we could actually track that and plot it, because I wouldn't be surprised if that's an excellent sentiment barometer for crypto. The cool part about hopefully what you guys see, especially guys that have been around for a few years, Jeremy, Benjamin, Thomas was here earlier. Do you guys notice that year in, year out, I basically do the same thing over and over and over again? Nothing really changes here. I don't know. Alexander, you've been working with me long enough. Have you seen that? So, you know, some of you guys who are relatively new to the site, you don't realize that really Brian's just running a business. Nothing really is different here. It's just a business of trading and making money from trading. Um, and I'm getting better every day. Thanks, Rob. So I actually like to use this, not so much, the message from Brian really doesn't change day in, day out. The site should be getting better. Hey, we had a team meeting yesterday. All the pieces are sort of falling up together. The user platform you guys are going to have in the new year, oh my God, I'm so envious of you guys. You get to build your own dashboards, drag and drop all the different tools and stuff that you want on a daily basis. Daily email reports, everything. It's, oh my God, it's just incredible. So you guys are super duper lucky. But I think to a certain degree, a lot of what we're going to do here is just based purely on the public and the way that the public sort of thinks. And so this as a basically a market-based service. And of course, you know, when we're banging out doubles and the market's super duper hot and it just looks like, you know, these crazy crypto guys are making money just from, you know, farting, that's obviously when this number is going to spike. And I was even joking, I don't know whether I was recording when I said this before, but this is the only business in the world where when stuff goes on sale, nobody wants to buy. Nobody. It's the weirdest thing. And so really, this is a perfect testament of exactly what should happen. So I'm not going to get too disheartened if I see these numbers go down. It's sad because what it does mean is that the public is kind of losing interest. But I'm just going to be business as usual, just doing our thing, trading away, building our accounts, and hopefully demonstrating best practices to you guys. And we'll probably see as the seasonal bottoms come in, this number start to work its way back up again. Okay, I think I'm probably going to leave it at that for today, guys. I've been blabbing for a while here. I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation, giving you some stuff to think about, a few names that I'm buying that you might be interested in. Payment, if anything, was telling us that the big concerns that he has coming up, of course, we got Ethereum stuff happening here soon. He was telling us that this radium idea is supposed to be just absolutely over the top, the amount of money these guys are trying to generate. If it's fully subscribed, technically every Ethereum out there will have to go into this thing, which means it almost sounds to me like this radium story is a potion for disaster. So keep your eyes open for that. We were looking at the Ethereum chart. Of course, we've been looking at lots recently. I'm worried that there's a hell of a lot of open air down below here on Ethereum. So I don't know whether this is Radian, is that what it's called? Radian or whatever. It was supposed to be just sort of an upgrade, and now they're going to spin it off into an ICO or something like that. So a little disappointed in hearing that. Christine, did you enjoy the presentation today? Do you think you got anything out of this? I hope I've given you some stuff to think about. I've asked Christine a couple times, but she just doesn't want to talk to me. Yeah, if anything, this has got to be a bit concerning here, eh? Oh, boy. And then this one here as well. Oh, goodness. Oh, yeah. It's got trouble written all over it. Anyway. So I'm not really going to be in a big hurry for Ethereum to be doing anything here whatsoever. With regard to altcoins, as I said right at the top of the broadcast, it's ugly out there right now. You know, most names are on their heels. So really, if anything, I'm just nibbling away, buying against lows. Not probably going to be selling a hell of a lot over the next month or so. But you never know. Market does its fun stuff. And actually, you know, because I do have probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7 Bitcoins lying around in total, I may actually even spoon feed the market a Bitcoin if we're blasting off up top here. I've been talking to you guys a bit about that recently. I might even let some more Bitcoin go here over the next little while. But at the same time, I got to keep enough ammunition on the books to actually go and buy these altcoins. So that's the one thing that's sort of been pausing me from liquidating the Bitcoin, is I want to have that handy so I can go and get all these stink bid fills. So, okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Hope you got value out of this. I'll see everybody, of course, in the daily brief tomorrow. And we'll take a look at the whole damn thing in about, what, I guess about 20 hours. All right, have yourselves a great afternoon. I'm going to head out and hang out with the boy for the next few hours and enjoy some sunshine here on the wet coast. All the best, and bye for now.